skips the appropriations process entirely. That's called direct spending. And any kind of piece of legislation that increases net direct spending, whether it be because it spends more money or it causes a loss of receipts to the government, that is subject to, or potentially subject to pay-as-you-go rules, which are implemented and enforced by the committees on the budget. I know you'll get into that. So as for the rest of our estimates, we just talk about the programs, our assumptions, who we talk to, and provide some numbers in our mandate statements. I think I'll leave it there for now.
I'm Greg Waring. I'm an analyst with the House Budget Committee. I've been with House Budget for about 1.5 years now, and before then I was an analyst here at CBO for about 4.5 years, splitting time between the State and Local Mandates Unit at CBO and the Natural Resources Unit at CBO. The Budget Committee probably has the primary role in the budget process, and in our role in the budget process, we use all the tools at CBO that Tyler just outlined. And we use those tools to do probably 3 primary things, one being analyzing the President's budget proposal. We want to be able to make comparisons and see what we think the President's budget will do for or towards the majority's priorities. We want to put together a congressional budget plan. We want to show what we think our budget, what the majority's priorities will do for federal spending and revenues over a 5 or 10 year window. Usually the first year is the most important year for the appropriations process, but we'll have to project where we think surpluses or deficits will be over 5 or 10 years. Obviously, this is a political document. The budget resolution doesn't get signed by the President. It passes both houses. It doesn't always do that, but the goal is to pass both houses, to say what our priorities are. But really, from a practical standpoint, the budget resolution is a stream of revenues and a stream of top-level funding amounts for different programs. So you can say what's in there, and then we can divide those dollars up between the Appropriation Committee and the Authorization Committees. And then the committees of jurisdiction can then go spend those funds for their programs. And the third thing we do is enforce budget rules, and most importantly right now, the pay-go rule. Any piece of legislation that passes the House may not increase deficits or reduce surpluses. So the key is outlays, the money that actually leaves the Treasury, not the funding authority. So legislation cannot increase the deficit without first finding offset. So you have to, if you want to increase spending in one place, you have to cut spending somewhere else, or you have to raise revenues or fees. There's different definitions for those things. So those are our 3 primary roles: analyzing the President's proposals, providing a congressional budget, and enforcing budget rules and pay-go rules when legislation actually moves through the House. My job title is I'm a budget analyst. My portfolio is transportation programs, Function 400, justice programs, lawyers, prisons, courts, law enforcement, Function 750, and commerce and housing credit, Function 370, SBA, the census, GSEs such as Fannie, Freddie, Jenny. It's really a catch-all of programs. And my job is to put together, using the CBO baseline, adding back in what we think the Democrats have, adding back in what we think the Democratic priorities are to the baseline for the programs that we want over the 5 and 10 year period. And in doing so, I have to work with authorizing committee staff. We have to meet with the chairs of all the relevant committees with their staff, work closely with leadership to figure out what those priorities are. For example, in transportation, we want to fix the shortfall of the Highway Trust Fund. Most highway programs are financed through gas taxes. Gas tax revenues aren't doing too well these days because the price of gas has gone up, demand for gas has gone down. And because road programs are supposed to be paid for with user fees or excise taxes, we have a shortfall that's growing, and the money that's coming into the trust fund will not be able to pay for the programs that are being spent from the trust fund. So we have to find ways to accommodate that in the budget, and meet with the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, meet with the Appropriations Committee, work with Ways and Means, the Tax Writing Committee, to figure out how the Democratic majority will address the shortfall. in again, similar meetings and consultations and working with committee staff for my other functions as well.